So yeah, I'm going to share my presentation as always. So this one. So I think we're missing Zoe, right? In the group. Someone knows if she will join today? So what about Zoe?
It's on the way.
Okay, so then let's wait. Okay, there she is. So we are complete now. Yeah, let's just take a look at the agenda. You already know what's going on today. So we're going to check the dates, the upcoming dates. We will talk about your project work and your progress. We will do a slide content repetition. If I'm right, it's Lee and Chen Su who are responsible for the content repetition of last session. And then we will just talk a bit about the movie, the video you've seen in the last lesson. I added some additional questions in Slack, and then we're gonna dive today in project management basics. That means it's part of the consulting practice, and as promised, the next lessons we're going to talk about the tools that can be used in consulting practice and business. And yeah, today we will focus on project management. And yeah, I also promised that we're going to talk about process management, but while I was preparing the project management input, I realized that it might be too much. So we will talk about that next session about process management. And yeah, then we're going to have the outlook, as you know. So the organization. Next week, we're going to have one lesson on Monday, and we will only talk about your project work, especially your project report, because the submission date is June the 17th. So it's Wednesday, end of day, that you have to submit the project report. And we will use that lesson, that 45 minutes on Monday, to clarify any open questions you might have and how to deliver the report and so on. We will talk about that on Monday, although of course, we can talk about this today as well, but I wanted to give you the chance to have one additional lesson before the submission date. Then, as planned, we will have a normal lesson on Thursday. As already mentioned, we're going to talk about process management and especially process modeling and other tools that might be important for consulting practice. And then the week after, June 25th, will be your lesson. So I'm waiting for your presentation of your project work. And the week after, the 27th, will be our last lesson. And I will just give you a summary about all the topics we crossed during our lessons and finish the consulting part with a slight outlook, like consultancy in the future, digitalization, and so on. And yeah, you can also bring up some more questions. So that might be nice if we could talk about your questions as well. Okay. So, you know what's coming. I'm going to switch to Trello, to our Trello board, or your Trello board. And yeah, maybe someone, maybe your project coordinator Lee or anyone else will give an update about your status. How far did you get? What did you do within the last days regarding your project work?
Well, personally, I just did the second part, 3.2, and you know, we are working on it. I asked some of the students, some of the friends, and they told me their part has been completely finished. As you know, they upload the documents in the kernel, right?
Yeah, as you did here, right? You most of you just uploaded some files. I've seen it. And
sorry for my bad memory. I forgot to upload that in last Friday.
You don't have to be sorry for me, but for your colleagues, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This was 3.4. So you did it together, the 3.4 together with Chen Su. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what's done already, and what else is done? Here's something from Zoe 3.1. I think we already marked this as done. And there's something from Ray. I think it's from Ray and Liang. Which part is that? Is it the theoretical fundamentals which is posted there, or? Okay, so this is done. I can move it. And the 3.5, is it also included in that document or still open? It's also included. Okay, so this is also done. That's great. You're making good progress. Okay, so that means, so I've seen the report template is done so far, and so we can move that as well to the done section. And yeah, your timeline is in progress. I will just put it here. No, you can put it here. Did you have a chat about your project mission and how to bring together all your different documents? Because you know, if you will submit your project work, it should be one document, only one document in PDF format, which you will offer me. All these documents posted here will not be considered from my side. So please send me one single project work document, project report in the end when you're finished until the 17th. So how will you bring together all your chapters? Who is doing that work?
We'll decide to do our part first, and then about something like conclusion and abstract, we will working together.
Okay. That's great. So where's the abstract? We had it here somewhere. I don't know. Pretty sure we have one, create abstract. So that's missing, right? Okay, so at the moment there are 2 chapters left until this week and until Monday. That was just a recommendation that you should finish the introduction, main body, conclusion, and then finally do create the abstract. Okay, so do you already know who will be responsible for these tasks? You say you will do it together, you will have a call, or you will do it by Google Docs and work together on the document. How will you do that? Who's responsible?
That conclusion part, we also decide to only do the conclusion by our own, and we adapt them together.
Okay, that means so everybody's writing a conclusion and you bring it together? Or maybe I don't get it.
Yes.
Okay, but this is a lot of work, right? When you write, for example, 1 page and everybody else, and then you go in different directions. But this is your idea, so you will write something and then you try to bring it together. So
maybe we should finish the main body at first, then we can draw the conclusion.
Yeah, and maybe just to recommend an idea. If you finish the main body, and so if you read the main body and the theoretical fundamentals, then you should be able to write a conclusion. Maybe it makes sense if everybody of you just writes down, or you talk about it, what should be part of the conclusion, and then one person is doing the writing, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So, and do you already know who's doing the writing of the conclusion? So why am I asking? Because you probably need something like a deadline until what time everybody should be add the content requirements, for example, of a conclusion. So if someone should write the text, the final text of the conclusion chapter, he or she should know what the others do expect. And so maybe you need feedback from your teammates until a specific date. This is just why I'm asking.
So we need a security, right?
Yes. It's just from my experience. I realized in all of my projects that tasks will only be finished in time and quality if at least one person is responsible. That doesn't mean that the person has to do every work to finish the task, but he or she has to ask the others for input, for feedback, and so on.
你们有人想当秘书吗？我们现在需要一个秘书。 有人能做一下那个记录工作吗？因为他老师说就是最后就是可能要总结大家的发言，然后再做那个结论。
I would like to take the response of the create abstract.
The abstract?
Yes.
Okay, so this is who? That's Chen Su. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So and for the introduction, it was Liang, and then we still have this task, main body and conclusion. I think there should be one person at least responsible to get all the information from the others. So who's taking over the responsibility for the conclusion and who for the main body? I think at least one person should be the leader for these chapters. So there's only about 1 week left until you have to 1 week and 2 days left until you have to submit your entire report. I'm putting a bit of pressure on this responsibility.
Maybe I can take the conclusion part.
Okay. So Lee gonna take the conclusion. Okay. And who is responsible for the main body?
Actually, you can work together.
So all of you, or should I set one person who's
1 or 2 guys? I'm afraid. I'm afraid 1 or 2 is the best.
Yeah,
if
because
too many people do the same thing,
yeah,
things become complex.
Yeah, that's right. And in the end, nobody feels responsible.
Yeah.
Okay. So who will drive this chapter to bring all together these chapter 3.1 until
Maybe next time we need a robot to decide who will do which part of the job.
That's your job to decide within your project team.
I mean, like a gambling machine.
Because you don't want to make decisions, huh?
But I think the main body is the part we respond for ourselves, like 3.1 to 3.4.
Yeah, but in the end, it's one chapter, right? With sub-chapters.
Yeah.
So, and somebody should take care that all these chapters work together well, and that you don't have too many repetitions within these different chapters, you know? Because some of the questions are pretty close. I don't know what you have written, what's your content about of chapter 3.1 and 2 and 3.3 and so on. But maybe there are some repetitions, and from my perspective, it would make sense that one person would read all the chapters within 3 and try to make one, make it feel like one, or yeah, feels like one chapter. Okay, so it's just a recommendation from my side because of my project management experience. But if you don't think that you need someone responsible, then you're gonna do it without somebody or some person who's taking over the lead for this chapter. So it's your decision in the end, right? It's kind of self-organizing project work. So I would say we're going to talk on Monday how your progress is going on. And yeah, let's just go through the open topics. This 3.2 is open and 3.3. And the idea is to finish it until the end of the week or until Thursday, I assume. And until Monday, you should be done with your introduction, main body, and conclusion, because then you have 2 days left, Tuesday and Wednesday, to finish the project report. That means to bring together all the information, all the content in one document, to create an abstract, and also to work on your part B, right? Your lessons learned and reflection. And to do a reflection of internal teamwork, you have to communicate with each other. So Chen said that she will be responsible for the reflection, but the input should be coming from all of you. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your timeline and your time planning. Okay. On June the 18th, we will have the next lesson of 3 hours or 2.5 hours, and we will then talk about the presentation. So I suggest that you focus on your project report within the next days until June 17th. What I would like to ask you is to use the Slack channel to write down your open questions regarding the content, regarding some specific topic, the formatting, and so on, or the timeline. If you're not clear about something, write it down in Slack. We will talk about that on Monday, yeah, together. That's what I ask for. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop that here and yeah, switch back to the presentation. I think that's all for now for the regarding the project work. If some questions are coming up during the lesson, just ask me. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So content repetition. Yeah, if I was right, it's Li and Chen Su who are responsible for the repetition. That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to share your screen?
No.
Shall I share mine?
Yes, please.
Okay.
My part is from the page 25.
Yeah, okay. This one, because it's a new presentation, so the slide number is not.
Yes.
Okay. Just let me know when I should switch the slides.
So we have 6 processes of the end-to-end consulting. And I will introduce the first 2. And next, please. These parts belong to the sales. And in this part, the first is market contact, is including inbound and outbound, and also official tender process. And next step is to gather all the information, is including personal contact and meeting, so you can know by the through the consulting company, you can know more about the work, the company work you need to deal with next. And the third is bidding process, is including situation and problem, and also high level target and setting. Next, service and responsibility and timeline also need to set up in this section. And this phase and risk, that those all company and they should communicate before they actually start to doing it. And next, please.
Just a question, not only to you, Chen, to all of you. Do you remember what's the difference between inbound and outbound contact?
Of course.
Let me know.
Well, the difference is you is a customer to find you, or you find the customer. Right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's pretty easy, and
just for better understanding, I don't want to make it too complex. I know what does it mean, but I have to explain that in my own words.
Yeah, that's totally right. If the customer comes to you or you go out to the customer, that's totally right. Okay, anyone else who wants to add something? Or are you fine with that definition? Okay, so please go ahead, Chen.
And next step is analyze. This part including the delivery. The first is as it analyze. To start to analyze first, we also need much information, including something like business model, and it's like interview, service, observation, and remote, and data result. The next is target setting to clarify which targets the company want to get in the end. Of course, there's a rate and much things need to communicate. For example, like targets and analyzing. Also, recommendation and expectation, and the consulting company needs some success factor of the company who need information and need help.
Thank you.
Yes, that's my part.
Thank you. So shall I switch to the next slide? Please?
Yeah. Okay. And that's my part. Well, this part we called solution design. And in my own word, we can call it the plan, to make the plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's to make the plan is the job in this part, and to become at first to be concept. Well, it's this part. In this part is we need to solve the problem of what we need and what we need to do. And the first part is what we need exactly in. And here we call it definition of requirements. That's what we need. And then you know what you need, and then you know how can you solve these requirements, or wait. How can you solve these problems? For example, design of new process,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got a plan. You're gonna do that. That's the second part. Realization planning. And here, that's exactly the part of what I did. 3.1. So that's my topic actually. Quite close to my mind. You need to before you did your job, you need to risk analyze at first.
Mm-hmm.
And just like what we did now, or make a timetable, make all the works clarifies the details of every part, and then we can do it as a whole project.
So the first part, to be concept, this is very close to your chapter 3.1.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And because there you want to understand, after you did the as-is analysis in the part before, you now try to find out what are the requirements for the new process.
Yeah.
What does the client want? In detail, and then the realization planning is following, right?
Yeah.
And this is very close to the chapter 3.5, if I'm right at the moment, of your chapter 3.5, because there you set up the organization and the project planning, how to implement this concept that you designed in the to-be concept. That right?
The to-be concept is a prepare, get everything prepared, and then the second part is how we do that.
Yeah.
How getting to practice.
What's the timeline? What tasks have to be done to realize the concept you created in the first chapter, right?
Well, the next page, please.
Thank you. So implementation.
Well, as you see, implementation is another part of the delivery. First, the realization. Sorry. Realization including project management, change management, coaching, and so on. In this part, we need sorry. It's I got stuck. Sorry. I'm afraid in this part we did the management, and because we got into we need to do it in practice. So we need project management, change management, coaching to help us in the whole process, to do the things in the right process.
So what I will switch back to the to the slide before to and take the later pointer to bring this to be concept that you realized that you defined here, in a written way, for example, bring that into practice, right? To realize that. That can be the configuration or development of a software, or you can also implement new processes, structures, or methods, or whatever. And therefore, you use methods like project management, change management, coaching. That's right.
And controlling is another meaning from control. It's well, we call it in Chinese 审计. So actually it's including as you see makes timeline, risks analyze, do the budget and security. That's a very important part of the project.
Have you ever heard of the magic triangle? It's so called. So you have you have to be in time, in quality, and in budget. So these are the three anchors or angles of the magic triangle. And of course, everybody wants to realize a project with less than possible time and budget, but with the highest quality. And of course, this is not really possible. And so you always have to manage between these requirements from these three aspects. And risk management is something additional, because you have to just to monitor the risks, that you don't run into any known risk, and for example, in the end need more budget, or you will have a lack of quality or something like that. But the magic triangle is very wide known.
And the last part, evolution.
Evaluation.
Evaluation is in the end you need you need a standard to judge every part, every process, how good or how bad they did.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, draw a conclusion, which it can be a feedback. It can be a feedback to your whole project.
Yeah. To the project, so the process, how you did the management and the planning, and also the result itself, right? If the
yes.
software product or the new process is meeting the requirements and expectations of the client.
And the next page, please.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after sales, customer care, that's exactly why I said before. Even this project finished, even your work finished, the project still exhausted. It's still not going to end because the standard you made before, including the customer care, which is the after sale service, it still works. And the service, including process guidelines, IT support, configurational adaptation, and also customer development, continuous improvement. Once you finish the project, you got one customer, and they may lead you to another customers, or when you did the job well, it can make the customer have a good impression of your companies, or maybe it's a personal work, and then the customer will willing to cooperate with your company next time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, innovate, change, upselling, cross-selling, exactly as what I said. When you have a good relationship with your customers, or maybe your upstream or downstream suppliers, you can do this cross-selling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I assume you are finished. So thank you, Li and Chen-Su, for your repetition. And before we're gonna talk about the self-study, which is also linked to this consulting process, of course, and before we go into the consulting tools that you might use when you're doing consulting work, we're going to have a small break of 10 minutes. So 16 past, so 26, we will be back. Okay. So thank you.
See you later.
See you.